Coming live from the 706, it's DK Powerhour with Tom Dimitrov and Billy Harold.
This show stirs my loins.
Let's face it, Trent Richardson is the ultimate deadbeat.
Ty Guy Taylor will be in my lineup even on his bye week.
$10 Friday.
Deadbeat. He's fantasy gold.
Your brother.
No, your brother.
Your dad. I roster bait to Julio Jones.
If you ain't listening,
You donate me.
I would make fantasy love to Chris Ivory. It's now time to ram that crown.
What's up, guys? Welcome to a new year of DK Powerhour. As always, I'm Tom Dimitrov. This is my man, Billy Harold. We're getting into it a little late. Last year, we started off with a couple, early shows, just going through some lineups. But times have been busy, trying to get back into the groove of it. And I think we are going to. I think we did a little more research in the beginning than we did kind of last year. We've been sitting back, just kind of thinking about it and trying to get everything together. So, you want to jump into it, or you got some stuff to say?
Well, one thing, I have so many things I want to start with, but I think I want to start with, so last night, if you watched the Carolina-Denver game, you noticed that Brandon Marshall followed suit and he kneeled during the pledge.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own opinion on things. So what does every good, hardworking American do? He goes to Twitter to blast Brandon Marshall. Well, just so happens they all blast the wrong Brandon Marshall. And the New York Jets receiver is getting hammered on Twitter by a bunch of guys who just have a problem with what's going on. Now, the interesting thing is, 9/11 is the first game.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how things go there. But I digress. So we should get on to football. Talk some football.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long off season. It's been sad and depressing, but
It is a very tough 6 months.
But it's back. Last night the Broncos and Panthers played last night to kick it off. I don't know if a lot of you jumped in on those Thursday night slates through Sunday. I did enter the millionaire, the $5 millionaire about 10 times. Not many. About 7 or 8 times. Just to jump in, I thought the score, there wasn't going to be anybody that blew it out of the water yesterday. I just wanted to kind of get upside because a lot of people saw a lot of lineups where they were stacking the Broncos and Panthers game. Big waste of money, so I thought I could jump in there and get an edge on them. So,
I think it's a brilliant strategy. You didn't really get burnt last night unless Benjamin, what was it, like 19.9, and CJ went off, but here's the thing. Most of those people who played those guys were just stacking that game to get action.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of dead lineups anyway out of it. I saw a guy in a double up I did last night who had Ronnie Hillman and stuff like that. Ronnie Hillman's not even on the game. So, even if the guys at the top of the leaderboard have those guys, I think you still have a chance to beat them. So I wouldn't be too worried about them.
Absolutely. So, as we always do, we talk Sunday and we'll talk the Monday night game. Mostly Sunday because that's the slate with the millionaire that they use. So we usually talk that, and everything's based on Sunday's game, and we talk Monday night, but we don't really talk Thursday night game. As you see in the past, those are kind of flares, and you don't really want to be playing that too much. So, but we'll just talk about this. We're going to try to do a show every Friday. Get it out there before the weekend. Last year we were doing shows every day, breaking down each position, but I think we're just going to keep it all in one and just throw one show out there a week. I think it's a little more easier, and it kind of lets us talk about everything. Lets us talk strategy instead of just worrying about one group at a time.
Right, and plus it gives us an extra day or two to get a little research in. One thing I want to add, if you're new to the podcast, welcome. We have a league that we have begun on Draftkings. If you're interested, hit us up, Twitter. I'm at, what is my Twitter? Bill Snake 23, and Tom's is TDME21.
Yep.
Hit us up, and we will get you in the league starting next week. I think we're full for this week.
Yeah, and just a couple shout-outs. Project Roto, I'll be using their spreadsheets this year. I used them all through golf, really enjoyed their website, and then I'll also be using the Pro Football Focus. Is there any websites you'll be using?
Yeah, I use Draft Shot. Just joined up with that, part of their community. And then, of course, all the other resources we use online. Fantasy Pros. What else we have?
RotoWire, all those.
Fantasy Labs. DK Playbook. I mean, we use a lot of these things. So Roto Grinders.
And listen to a lot of podcasts, and we try to condense a lot of that information into this podcast, but also throw in our opinions on how we feel. So, so should we just jump into it?
Let's knock it out. That's what the people are here for, right?
Yeah. I think we're going to take the format of we're going to go through each position, just talk about guys we really like, why we like them, why we're going to play them, who we're going to fade, and just kind of in the past we talked games. If there's a game you really want to talk about, or is there a few games that we should be kind of looking towards?
Yeah, well, that was kind of a discussion we had earlier. Do we go game by game or do we go by position? I think it's best to go by position, but in going by position, you still get a chance to talk about games as well and kind of where our focus. And I think you'll read a little bit into our conversation here where we are headed, and I'm not going to say, hey, this is my lineup, but you'll probably get an idea of what our narrowed down list is.
So let's just jump into it. All right. With quarterbacks, we're going to start off. There's a few big matchups this week that, based on defenses from last year, there's a lot of play in a few games that you should be targeting. We got New Orleans and Oakland, and then we got the Jags and Packers. We got the Colts and Lions are a big game to kind of focus on. Those are kind of the quarterbacks I'm kind of looking at. And then I got a couple other right outside that. But is there a guy that you have that's a must play this week?
Well, I think we got to start with the obvious one, the chalk in the room, Prescott, as I read from somebody earlier today. Dak Prescott, 5K on DraftKings. I think everybody's flocking to him for cash. I think he's going to be upwards of 30% owned in cash.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to fade in GPPs and get away from there. I like some better spots. But I think he's almost a staple in your cash game because he just opens up the flexibility to play such safe options at receiver and run. And we'll talk about a running back in a minute that you can pair him with that just kind of opens it up for you. But I have him. I kind of broke my guys down into GPP, cash, and both, and I only have them circled as cash right now because I don't really want to venture there with GPPs.
Yeah. I play a little bit cash, but I'm mostly GPP, so I'm usually trying to find who the biggest owned guy is, and I'm gonna pivot off that. A couple spots, I guess, kind of the chalk guys that we can that everybody's talking about, that everybody that has the best matchups is Andrew Luck, Drew Brees, Derek Carr, and Matthew Stafford.
I think that's where a lot of people are.
Those four, we got the highest price guy, Aaron Rodgers, at $8,500. He's $200 more than Andrew Luck and $400 bigger than Drew Brees. So with those guys at top, Aaron Rodgers, highest price guy. I feel like a lot of people are going to come down from him and save the $400 or $200 with Brees and Andrew Luck. So as good as Aaron Rodgers has that matchup, is that a guy that you're going to be going off of, or are you going to have some lineups with him in there?
Yeah, I'm not big on Rodgers this week. Not that I don't think Rodgers is a great quarterback. I mean, he's probably the best in the league. But as I've found out over the last couple of years, quarterback's kind of capped. That's the position to me that has the least overall upside. So I can play a guy 1,000, 2,000 less and get within 2 or 3 points. So I don't really see the reason. Now, if you want the safety of cash, I think he's fine in cash games, but I'm not going to really venture there and spend that money in a GPP when I can go some other places. But, what do you think about
that? Aaron Rodgers at $8,500, and you've seen all the studies. If you really looked into it, GPPs that have won have paid down at quarterback, have been in that about $6,500 to $7,000 range. Is usually about right where a quarterback hits, depending on if the backup steps in and falls into a good matchup at $5,000, $5,500. But for the most part, that's $6,500 to $7,000 is about where you want to be with a quarterback when you're spending your money building a GPP lineup. Now on the cash side, it's a little better to pay up for quarterback because you're looking for consistency. You want a high floor. So with those guys at top like Brees, Luck, and Rodgers, you know what you're going to get out of those guys. So there's not as much volatility, so you do want to pay for those guys. But as for GPP, Rodgers, I'm fading. I want to play Luck, but at $8,300,
I'm off Luck, actually. I know a lot of people are on him, but this shoulder thing scares me a little bit. He wasn't great last year. That's a big price to pay for what could be a dud. So you just don't know. I mean, he's got a lot of options there.
Yeah.
Now, we'll talk about receivers, and I actually like one of his receivers a ton. But, I think I can if you don't mind, Stafford. I'm going to play the shit out of Stafford. That's my guy that I want to play. I think he's my number one, and he's in that game. So I can capture upside from that game by going Stafford, pairing him with receiver, and then going like Moncrief.
Yeah, as the week has gone on, Stafford was my number one guy. But the more I talk about it, it's going to be tough to play him in GPPs. I think he's going to probably be 30% owned in GPPs, 25 at least, because his price is $7,200. He's got a great matchup against the Colts on the other side, and a lot of people are trying to pair him up with Marvin Jones that we'll get into, where he's sitting at $4,600. Another guy that I really wanted to play. I did draft across the board. I tried to get him in every season-long league. I think he's going to be the number one receiver there, and it's kind of hard for me now to start thinking, should I play Stafford at when he's possibly going to be owned at 25% or higher? But the other thing is, it is the first week of the season. There's a lot of new money into it. And
Mayfield to the front office.
And there's a lot of new money coming in, so a lot of new people are coming into the thing. So they see those big names, Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees up at the top, Russell Wilson. So a lot of people are going to flow towards that. And then the other guy that's in the middle right there, Derek Carr, 7,300, kind of sandwiched in between those guys. He's got a great matchup against New Orleans. I think he's going to be highly owned too. And I think a lot of the good sharks, the good guys at DFS are going to pay down for those two guys in the $7,000 range instead of paying up and trying to and save money there to put into receivers or running backs.
I agree. I don't know if Stafford. To me, quarterback kind of levels out. I don't know if he'll be as high. He might be the highest owned quarterback though. But I don't know. To me, that seems a little high. But I think quarterback's the one position also in GPPs where you can't be afraid just to play the chalk guy. Running back too, I think actually. But I wouldn't necessarily do it at receiver maybe and tight end. But I think I'll have my fair share of Stafford. But I like Carr a lot. Did we talk about Russell Wilson? Do you like him? Game flow worries me a little bit.
Yeah, if I'm gonna play him, I'm not gonna pair him up with anybody.
Naked.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Kind of. I do like him, but I'm just kind of worried about kind of those red zones. Are they gonna give it to Rawls? I don't know. I need to see a little bit out of. I need to see what their offense is gonna look like. I don't know if they're gonna just let it be like they did the second half and let Russell Wilson kind of throw it all over the place, run a lot, and was the source of touchdowns, or are they going to try to use Thomas Rawls a little bit more? Are they going to try to get Jimmy Graham back into it? So there's a lot of questions outside. I mean, I like Russell, but I would have a hard time playing him with anybody else because I really don't know what's going to happen with that offense. So,
all right, before we move on, just real quick, I like Osweiler. He's a cheaper guy. I really like that offense this week. I think he could have a big game. I mean, Hopkins. I think we both like Hopkins. Yeah. We'll get to him a little bit. I like Will Fuller a lot this week. I think Braxton Miller could be super sneaky. And then Miller in the backfield is going to open it up for him. So I like him as a cheaper option. I really like Tyrod.
Yep.
As you heard in the intro, I'm going to play that guy a lot. And his running upside is what it is for me. I mean, he could always cap off a 60-yard run and get you in the money there. And then Monday night, Cousins is kind of a guy that I really like.
And just another guy, just to add on to that, I can see all those. I really like Tyrod Taylor. I think he's a good pivot in GPPs with that awful secondary that the Ravens had last year. They're not as good. Doomerville is not going to play, so they lose a pass rush there. So that's I do like Tyrod. I actually like LaShawn McCoy a little bit more than I like Tyrod this week. And then another guy that I do like is Carson Palmer. He's been awful in the preseason. Not a lot of people talking about him.
Nobody's talking about him.
He's got a great receiving core. They'll all three be playing. David Johnson's going to open it. He's good for maybe a drop-off screen for 50 yards and a touchdown. There's a lot of weapons, and they're favored by 7 points. So I think they're going to score. So I kind of like Carson Palmer at 7,100 as a pivot off of Stafford.
Yeah, very good pivot.
So I think it's going to be high scoring. I think they're going to get up and down the field, and I think he can put up as many points as Carson Palmer. So if Stafford duds out and he's 30% owned, I'm 30% on the field with Carson Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer's going to be very low owned. That's a brilliant pivot right there.
So and then Not really. Jameis Winston against the Falcons, I can see that play at home. I mean, at Atlanta, I do like that. I can see that. Falcons aren't very good against the pass. So,
Yeah, okay.
Anybody else?
What do you think about Roethlisberger on Monday?
His splits at home are actually pretty awful. So,
Cooper
I mean, on the
Mayfield,
road.
please
So,
call the front office. Cooper Mayfield, please call the front
So,
office or come to the front office.
I was reading something. I forget where I was reading, but they were showing splits of Roethlisberger away and then at home, and then also with Martavius Bryant on the outside. How much worse of a quarterback Roethlisberger is without Bryant out there. So, but the Redskins are going to throw the ball. There's going to be a lot thrown in that game, so I can see that happening. Okay. So, running backs. Who's your play of the week? Who's your number one guy?
Oh man, this is tough. Well, I think Ware has to be a staple in your cash games. At 4,400, he's going to be the workhorse. But kind of the guy I really like, and you're going to call me Homer because I've always liked this guy, is Ryan Matthews. 5,300, I believe. He's the way that game flow is going to work. I don't think they're going to want to throw the ball a lot with Wentz. I don't think Cleveland's going to be able to put much up on the board. Actually, I think the Eagles' D is a great play here. I think they're going to have a lead. I think they're going to slow it down. I think Matthews is going to touch the ball 25 times.
Yeah. I can see that. Like you said, rookie quarterback lean more on the running side of the game. So I definitely see that. I like Ryan Matthews. I can see that. I think my number one play is kind of in the same situation, and that's Ezekiel Elliott.
Okay.
I don't really like starting rookies in the first game of the season, but they got the best offensive line in the game. Dak Prescott, everybody's going to be playing him. It's the league minimum.
It's the perfect pivot.
So I think if you can pivot off that stack of Prescott and whoever you pair up and go with Elliott, and he so happens to run in 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Now you're up 2 touchdowns. A large amount of the field has played Prescott, and it's 7,300. I mean,
well, here you go. Here,
because I like Spencer Ware. You compare those guys together. I do think he'll be highly owned, but at 4,400, it's not that big of a risk because of what the price is, what you need on return, and it allows you to kind of pivot to other spots. So. I think Ezekiel Elliott is my number one play this week.
All right, how about this stack? Prescott Elliott.
So I don't think Dallas is going to score 4 touchdowns.
Which you would need 2 from each of them.
Yeah,
Right?
you really need like 2 from each one,
or 3 from Dak and 1 from Ezekiel. As long as Ezekiel puts up 90 to 100, right?
You need 100 yards and a touchdown for him to kind of make his return. I mean, that'll put you in the 19 to 20 point range. He catches a few balls, so you're right there at 21 points. So you're getting 3 times your return, but you kind of. I don't know about that stack. I'd rather go somewhere else, like we talked about. Pair him up with Stafford or pair him up with Carson Palmer, guys that I know are going to throw a lot. And I don't want to get caught. I don't want to get caught playing both of those, and then the game just craps the bed, and then I'm stuck, and that's just.
I think a lot of sharp people are kind of doing what you're doing too. Right? I've talked about it, mentioned it at least. Like I don't know if they're actually doing it, but they've made the mention of, hey, a lot of people are going to be on Dak. Maybe we'll go off to. Now the funny thing is going to be if everybody starts doing that and everybody comes off Dak and everybody's on Elliott, and then Dak ends up being the guy that's lower owned. That's going to really throw a wrench in a lot of people on Sunday. So I think that's something you just kind of follow on Twitter throughout the weekend and just kind of see what some of those sharp guys out there are saying. But yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of Ezekiel. Actually, at the beginning of the week, I was not on him at all, and as the week has gone on, I've grown to like him.
Because the other thing is, Lamar Miller sitting there at 7,000, got a great matchup. He's $300 cheaper, and everybody loves Lamar. I mean, that's all I see. Everything I read is Lamar Miller this, Lamar Miller that. He's in a great situation. He's 7,000, the 5th highest priced guy, so you're not taking the highest priced guy. And then he's sandwiched right there between Devontae Freeman, which everybody remembers what he did last year. So Lamar Miller and Devontae Freeman are going to eat up a lot of that. A lot of those ownership. So sitting right there, Ezekiel Elliott. And I like the guy that's right below those two, Eddie Lacy. Is
not
this new
so
Eddie?
Fat, not so
Yeah.
fat Eddie Lacy. Actually, I liked him better when he was fat. Eddie.
So I like that pivot too. And then 2 down, I talked about LaShawn McCoy. No Carlos Williams. Reggie Bush is behind him. I mean, LaShawn McCoy catches the ball just as great as Reggie Bush. So are they going to take LaShawn McCoy off the field to put in Reggie Bush? I mean, that's a downgrade. Are they going to let Reggie Bush or Gillespie run instead of McCoy? Yeah. So I think, to tell you the truth, I think McCoy is 20 carries and maybe 5 catches. And that's
I love
like we said,
LaShawn McCoy this week.
And like we said, the Ravens aren't in a defense that what they were in the early 2000s. It's just,
Yeah, I mean they don't have Ray Lewis murdering people there in the middle anymore.
So I'll be stacking. I'll be using a lot of Ezekiel and then mixing it with lineups where I use LaShawn McCoy. I'll move in and out of those 2 guys.
Yeah,
So
I like. I've had a couple lineups on FanDuel. Actually, I know we talk DraftKings here, but McCoy's actually a guy that keeps popping in my lineups. And as I continue to make my DraftKings lineups this week, I'm starting to see him more and more.
Yeah.
I've really grown on him throughout the week. I think he's a great play, and I think he's as great a position he's in. I don't think a lot of people are on him because they're so used to being burnt by him.
Yeah.
And they think about he's got this bias against him. You get him week 1 in a great matchup, he can win you a GPP. I think.
well, I'm sitting here looking at your list. Is this Doug Martin atop of it?
No. It's just guys I was writing down as I was researching.
I was about to say.
Yeah, he's not. This is in no order. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know if I like him that much anymore.
Nah, I think that game flow. I think the Falcons are going to move the ball up and down the field. I think it's going to turn into passing. I think my number 1 play every lineup I built Julio Jones. I'm 100% in on Julio Jones. He's the highest price.
Yeah.
He easily fits into my lineups and what I want to do. So I mean, when we get to receivers, we'll talk about that. But I think game flow, Doug Martin will go away. I think actually a great pivot off Doug Martin is Charles Sims because I think they're going to be playing behind. He'll be in a lot on the passing downs. He can probably catch 7 balls, 6, 7, 8 balls for 70 yards.
17 yards. Yeah, 70 yards.
But I mean, if he's in there long enough, I think that's at 4,400 on Charles Sims. I mean, you're looking for you're not looking for a huge return. He gives you some room, and Charles Sims could possibly be a great pivot off of Spencer Ware right there.
Yeah, Sims was one guy that I teetered on putting on my list or not. I was back and forth on him. I didn't end up putting him just because there's too much risk there to me. But if you're making multiple GPP lineups or you have a lot of faith in him, I think he's a fine play. I mean, I think you're right. If the game being in Atlanta, I don't think Atlanta's ever lost at home the opening week. So script like that's in favor of them. Plus, they're a home favorite. It might be. So I think I'm getting pretty much on the fade Doug Martin train too. Now there are a couple of guys that are up there at the top that I want to talk about. What's your thoughts on AP this week, knowing that they're probably going to run the ball 30 times?
Well, I think the Titans know that too.
Yeah.
So
does that mean the Titans can stop it?
7,600. I mean, AP can have a huge. It's
just wiser to go a couple hundred less, right, and go with one of those other guys. I mean, here's the thing with.
I would almost pivot down to David Johnson. I like him a little bit better than AP because of the ability of catching balls. But yeah, I can see. I don't think AP will be highly owned.
He's going to be stupidly low owned, which is crazy to think for AP. But he's the most expensive, right?
Yeah, 7,600. David Johnson's right on at 75.
I like Johnson a little bit better too. That's one of those pivot plays too. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe Johnson's going to be the guy that's higher owned. So.
And then a few guys here in the mid in the 5,000s. Latavius Murray, Frank Gore,
everybody's
Rashad Jennings, DeMarco Murray. We already talked about Ryan Matthews. Arian Foster will be starting. I'm staying away from Arian Foster.
Yeah, me too. I don't want anything to do with him. He's going to blow his leg out in warm-ups. So.
Latavius Murray's probably going to be the highest owned guy across the board.
Yeah.
So I can see cash games using Latavius Murray. Actually, if you do build one, Latavius Murray, Spencer Ware right there, and then that leaves you to you can possibly fit in Julio and maybe Odell into a lineup. There's enough space.
We'll get a receiver in a minute. There's a receiver I like slightly cheaper
than
him, but you can fit 2 studs, and that's the point.
Yeah. That's what I was just trying to, And then DeMarco Murray, what do you think?
I like Murray this week. I think he's going to be low owned. I think they're going to try to run the ball as well. And Murray seems to be rejuvenated in this offense. He's got catching ability out of the backfield. He's not my favorite.
I'm scared that at any moment Derrick Henry can take all the touches away. He gets hot. Yeah. They start feeding him. Or it becomes maybe not all the carries, but it becomes more 50-50. Yeah. Or Derrick Henry's inside the 20 type guy. and DeMarco's the guy between the 20s. So
I've kind of tried to make a promise to myself this year that I'm only going to play two types of running backs: workhorses and guys with catching ability.
Yeah.
And Murray kind of fits that mold, but you made some good points there, and you might have scared me.
But they said, but they did say that Murray will be the third down back since they cut McCluster.
Okay.
He'll be used as the third down back. So,
but it could be every other series though.
Yeah,
couldn't it? So
I just need to see a little bit more. I guess it's not a bad GPP play if you're just going to take a flyer because there's probably a lot of people that feel the same way. I just need to see how that offense is going to flow a little bit. So
I really like Mark Ingram this week. I think he's in a great matchup. I think he's become a much better pass catcher. I think he's good in both cash and GPPs.
Mark Ingram, real quick. This is how I feel about him. They now have Fleener.
Okay.
So they now have a goal line guy. They now have somebody in the end zone that can catch the ball. Did they have that last year? No, they had nobody that could do anything. So they went to the run a little bit more with Mark Ingram, but now they have that target in the red zone that they can use a little bit more instead of trying to just power it in with Ingram every time. So I think it might not be as many opportunities for Ingram this year, but I mean, against Oakland, Ingram always has upside of scoring 2 touchdowns. Yeah. He can have 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. It seems like every game that's what he does. So
watch this game be like 21-17. Just piss off everybody. A couple more guys. Just give me your quick thoughts on these guys. Rashad Jennings.
Maybe.
I kind of like him. I mean, he's another cheap guy. He's now, they say now he's the workhorse.
But they've been known, the Giants have been known to throw the ball a lot more when they go to Dallas than run the ball. Okay. So that's a history thing. Right. So that kind of scares me away. But it does sound like he is going to be the number one guy. And if they fall behind, maybe then it comes Shane Vereen. He's going to lose some touches. So that scares me a little bit. There.
Matt Forte, a guy I really respect, Evan Silva said he thinks Forte is going to go nuts this week. I think most of the people disagree with that.
I'm not.
Kyrie Robinson getting hurt helped Forte, but Bilal Powell's still there.
I think Forte is a 3-down back no matter what. I think that's their plan.
But it's another one of those things. Are they going to rotate series? Are they going to try to keep him fresh? So that's one that, all right. And then James White.
I can see it. He catches the ball out of the backfield, but
he's not going to run it, though. So unless he catches 5 balls or 6 balls, I mean, what if he shows up and catches 2 passes for 12 yards?
I mean, you're screwed.
Yeah, I'm screwed. Yeah. And then another guy that's cheap that I'm really gravitating toward as the week goes on, and that's Christine Michael.
Yeah, I don't know. They claim – I see it's going to be more 50-50, Christine and Thomas Rawls. I think they're going to let him do – the problem is neither one of them can catch the ball out of the backfield. So that eliminates third down running.
Well, they've already said Pro Size is third down back.
So that eliminates that. And then you got a guy, Thomas Rawls and Christine Michael. I don't know how they're going to do it. So there's really only 2 downs that they can really get work on. And they're going to try to kind of even it out. So
okay, so he's strictly GPP. Here's my thought on why I think you should maybe take on a flyer in a GPP lineup or so. They don't really want to play Rawls. They've already said they're treating it like a week 2 preseason game. So he's not going to get many touches or snaps. So they get up early, big. That's what everybody's expecting. Then it becomes the second half, run the ball, run out the clock. Michael becomes the main back, touching the ball.
Yeah.
He sneaks in a touchdown or 2 at his price tag, 60 yards, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, but it's very risky, especially knowing that he's not the third down back and knowing that at any moment they can say, you know what, Rawls looks healthy. Let's go with him. So.
And then 2 guys that I just have last. Jeremy Langford. I know nobody likes him a lot. He's not in a really good matchup, but Chicago last year and the last 2 years have been known to let those starting backs, get 20 touches. There's no show of really those 2 other guys behind him, Howard. Is it Jordan Howard? And,
yeah.
I don't even care the other guys.
He played himself out of a job this preseason.
So there's nobody behind him. He could possibly get 20-plus touches. There's going to be a lot of dump down to him. That offensive line's not that good. I can see him catching 4 or 5 balls, rushing for 60 or 70 yards. Right there, you're at 10 points.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility there. Maybe he gets into the end zone. maybe.
He's the workhorse now. And
Yeah.
there was all this talk in the preseason about how it was going to be a committee. There's no committee.
No.
And he's a 3-down back.
And then the last one's Theo Riddick. If that game becomes high scoring, he could be, I actually like Amir Abdul. I do have him highlighted, but his price at $5,000 or $4,900. There's just a couple guys below him, and I'd rather pay up for a couple guys right there. But Theo Riddick, he's going to be the 3rd-down back, possibly could catch a bunch of balls in that. They could be playing behind against Indianapolis, so use a little bit more.
What do you think about Freeman? We didn't mention Freeman at all.
Devontae Freeman, I like him. As a lot of people have shown, a big thing is percentage of offense that's run through players. Between him and Julio, what was it? It was like 60% of the offense went through him. So the touches, the opportunities are going to be there. Tampa Bay's not that good on defense. I mean, he could light them up. But
Just
then
the
also
Tevin
I can see it get down to the red zone. They just throw it up to Julio, and all the touchdowns go to him. So,
Well, are you worried at all about – I'm not so much worried about that. Are you a little bit worried about the Tevin Coleman thing here, or do you think that's just fluff?
I mean, I think they want to get him involved. They just don't want to – maybe they just don't want to wear out. I mean, they did draft him, 2nd round to be there. He did lose a job because he got concussion. Yeah. But I think they're going to give him opportunities. I don't know. Is he a better – we don't know. Is he a better goal line guy than Devontae Freeman? I mean –
I doubt it.
That's what I don't know. So, I mean, maybe. I don't think I'm going to build any lineups with Devontae Freeman this week. So,
Okay. All right, receiver?
Like I said, I just like Ezekiel way better in the situation. And if I'm going to pay that price, I'm going with him over Devontae Freeman. So, and I think it's a good pivot off of Dak. So, all right, to receivers.
You want to kind of just break this down by tier kind of?
Yeah, we can do. Okay. We'll do 8,000 and above.
Okay.
And talk about those guys, and then, or we can do 8,000 above. That's fine. There's enough guys there. Yeah. That goes with Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, AJ Green, Des Bryant, Hopkins, Beckham, and Jones. I already said it. Jones is my number 1 play. He will be in every single lineup I build. I think he's just going to go off. Rookie cornerback on him.
Rest in peace, man.
And I think he's 5'10" on top of it.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 foot, and then you got Julio on the other side, 6'4", 235. I mean, that matchup, it's going to get ugly. It's
and Julio historically just rips Tampa Bay apart anyway. I mean, they haven't had it last year. What was the stat line against them last year? It was like asinine how he just crushed them.
It was like 200 yards, wasn't it? It was something.
I mean, he got like
12 catches.
One game he had like 16 targets or something. It was just like.
But also. Another stat, Matt Ryan is 8-0 in season openers. At the Dome, he's thrown for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns on average on home openers at the Dome. So
we didn't mention him in quarterbacks. That's a sneaky stack right there for you.
So there you go. So I'm all in on Julio. I think he's got the highest ceiling of all the receivers in this field this week.
Yeah, I don't know
on the Sunday slate.
I don't know if he's the best dollar for dollar play. But when you're looking at raw points, I think he's just phenomenal. He's my top guy too. I'm playing him in every lineup. I think. The only other guy I'm thinking about if I don't have him in a lineup is Hopkins.
Yeah,
I'm pretty high on Hopkins this week.
So my tweet turned to you when I wrote about Hopkins.
Well, yeah, I was on Hopkins a little bit, but then I read your tweet and I started doing some more research on Hopkins, and I was like.
Chicago has lost the pass rushers. Their secondary is awful. The talk of Will Fuller on the other side. I don't know.
Open it up even more.
Yeah, I mean the guys. He can run the deep route. He can run all the routes. There's going to be open. They're not going to be able to just cover Hopkins, and Hopkins is a freak. I mean, I can see it easily, but game flow. Do they get up big in the early and then they just pound Lamar?
Yeah, they get up big early because he catches 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, I think he's. Nobody's talked about him. It's just one of those situations where it's just waiting to explode.
I think part of the reason people are not so much on Hopkins is because there's just so much there. People really like Miller. People like Fuller.
Yeah,
I like Fuller, and so they're just they don't really know where to go, and so he's kind of following. Plus, he's priced up with Julio and Odell, and and everybody's gravitating towards those guys. I think Hopkins could be a little under-owned.
And for 500, Allen Robinson's right there. He's in a good matchup against Green Bay. He's going to see a bunch of targets. The dude is a freak. So there's that possibility. So, yeah, he's going to lose a lot of ownership. He might be very low owned. So it's a good play. I think it's a good play with him going up against Chicago, especially at home.
Yeah.
So, Going the other. Anybody else in that top tier?
Yeah, I'm not really on Odell. He didn't do well against Dallas last year. I don't know. Maybe they have him figured out and somehow, and nobody else in the NFL does. But if you completely fade him, it's probably the week he goes for like 200 yards on you. So I don't know if I can completely fade him. If I'm making multiple GPP lineups, I think I got to find a way to get him in there once or twice. But
I think this kind of falls in the same situation with DeAndre Hopkins. It sounds like Beckham has somebody on the other side that can do work.
Yeah, Shepard.
Yeah. Where Hopkins now has Fuller on the other side. So now they actually have somebody on the other side. Yeah. Your boy Ruben Randall can't even make it through the Eagles. I mean, he gets cut.
I want to go back and take every podcast from last year where I mentioned that guy and just tear it up.
If Nelson Aguilar can stay on the team and Ruben Randall can't, what was he doing?
Josh Huff can
what was Ruben Randall doing that's so bad that they were like, we're going to cut you, but we're going to keep Nelson Aguilar, who has more drops and receptions in his career. So
did anybody pick him up, Randall, or is he like on the street somewhere?
I haven't heard anything. He's over there hanging out with Trent Richardson.
Look, here's the thing, man. Like, are you sitting around saying, I'm Ruben Randall, and Ted Ginn has a job and I don't?
I think he's going to sign back with the Giants. I think they're going to see how Victor Cruz does, and if he can't make it, they'll probably bring him back and run him in
the old James Jones move right there.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, but the dude's a deadbeat. I don't know him, but he's a deadbeat.
He is.
So, all right, any down to the 7,000s?
Yeah, I don't have much interest in Dez. I mean, unless you're playing Dak. I think Green's in a suitable matchup. He always goes under-owned, especially week 1. He's a sneaky play, but and then Keenan Allen. I mean, he might get 20. Like, I'm not even making this up. He might get 20 targets on Sunday.
I think they're going to be playing behind. He's not a bad play. They're at Kansas City.
PPR format.
Their defense is awful. They could be behind and
he was on
the ball
pace
everywhere.
to catch 130 balls last year before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So.
7,000. That Jeffrey, Marshall, Cooks, Nelson Cobb, Hilton, Evans, Tate, Cooper. Pretty loaded right here.
Yeah, I like a lot of the guys that we just mentioned there. I think
top play.
Ultimately, what I want to do before I tell you my top. Ultimately, what I want to do is build my lineups low enough at quarterback and low enough at one of the running back positions to where I can fit in one of those top tier guys we talked about, and then one of the guys in this range.
Yeah.
And then one of the lower guys we'll talk about. That's kind of my strategy in building my lineup. And then in the flex, I can go cheaper if I need to. There's a lot of options there. But top play in that range, Alshon Jeffrey.
Alshon Jeffrey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not on that. No. I mean, probably the top play to me is Randall Cobb, just looking at splits of what he's done with Nelson on
Cobb's
the field.
A great play. Yeah.
He's going to be more comfortable in going back to kind of that slot, playing that second wideout kind of position, kind of what he does good. Amari Cooper, he's a chalk too. I think he's going to be price. He's going to be so highly owned.
Here's my thing with Cooper and why I like Jeffrey. Cooper was my number 2, and then Cobb was my number 3. I really like Cobb a lot too, and I've grown on him throughout the week as well. So at this recording, I'm saying this. It could be different come Sunday, but here's my thing with Jeffrey. Like, I have no doubt they're going to be down, and I have no doubt that he's going to get a ton of targets. He's a big receiver. If he's on the field, he's going to be the go-to guy on pretty much every pass play. So just on volume alone, I like him in that range because I think he's going to get the most volume of any of the guys in that range. Deal with Cooper is the chalk, and there's a possibility that he just absolutely goes nuts this week. But then again, there's the possibility that Crabtree goes nuts, or Latavius Murray goes nuts, or none of them go nuts.
Yeah.
So there's too much there for Clive Walford could catch 2 touchdowns for all we know. So I know Jeffrey's the guy. Cooper could be the guy this week. His red zone looks were not great last year. He's going to have Delvin Breaux on him now. There's a lot of debate on if Delvin Breaux is really a good cornerback or not. Does it really make an impact on you if he shatters you? I don't know, maybe not. But I like Crabtree actually a little bit more than Cooper this week, and that's kind of just why I'm gravitating towards Jeffrey.
Yeah, playing that's the 1,700 difference. Yeah. If you go down to Crabtree, that gives you a piece of that game. He is a reception machine. But, I mean, Amari Cooper at 7,200, I don't think we're going to see that for long. I think he's going to –
I'm not fading him completely. I'm just kind of giving you a reason why I like Jeffrey a little bit more than him.
And then the guy a couple above, Mike Evans.
Not on Mike Evans this week.
No? Mm-hmm. I think he can have a good week. I think they'll be playing behind. He's looked good in the preseason.
All right, so here's the thing. He's probably going to have Trufant on him most of the game, okay, which is it's a tough battle, but Evans is a bigger guy, and he could probably...
I thought I saw the opposite. I thought I saw Alford on him.
Now, if that... I got to check on it, because if that's the case, then, yeah, I'm in on Evans, because he's going to eat... He's, what, 4 inches taller than Alford, and Alford's just not Trufant.
And you saw what Terrell Pryor did to him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If now, are they going to move... The question is Trufant going to play a side, and are they going to move Evans around? Is he going to shadow him? What's the deal there? So I need to do a little bit more looking into that one. If that's the case, where Alford's going to be on. But here's the other thing: Evans gets the ball thrown to him 15 times. How many is he going to drop? Because that's his other issue.
0 this year. He's a new man.
He's locked in.
He's locked in.
Now here's another stat. If we want to go off, if we're throwing stats out there to our listeners. His targets drop dramatically when Vincent Jackson is healthy. He goes from like 10 plus targets to like 7 or 8 a game. So it's not a big difference, but it does take down a little bit of his volume. If Trufant's on him even 30% of the game, I think that maybe cuts into it a little bit more. Don't love Evans. Don't mind him. Just don't love him.
Yeah. The next tier, is there anybody else? I mean, Brandon Cooks.
I think Cooks is fine. GPP play. I wouldn't play him in cash. And Jordy Nelson, I wouldn't play at all until you know it's going to.
Yeah,
he's too expensive.
He could be on a snap count. I don't know if he's going to be. They say he's going to be full go, but we'll see. With that heat, they've been practicing up in Green Bay, and then they go down to Jacksonville.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how his conditioning will be. You know, I don't. Yeah. I just have questions. Moving down to the 6,000 tier. I think my favorite play here. Well, there's 3 guys that I really like. Eric Decker. I like him over Brandon Marshall. Mm-hmm. The red zone targets he catches. He's just a red zone machine. And then, obviously, Jarvis Landry, I think they're going to be way behind. This guy could possibly get 20 targets this week. I mean, they're going to be behind. He's going to move into the slot. Sherman won't be chasing him around. I think there's a good chance there. And then Dante Moncrief. I mean, but everybody's kind of on Dante Moncrief. That's the play instead of T.Y. Hilton. So, those 3 guys, they're target machines. Especially Decker in the red zone. Jarvis Landry, Dante Moncrief. Yeah, I just...
I agree with you on all those guys. I like Decker a lot. I agree with you on Landry. I think Landry's going to catch 10 balls.
Yeah.
I do. I think he's... I wouldn't say he's a lock, but I wouldn't be shocked he catches 10
But they're
balls.
talking about Devontae Parker's he's not even starting.
Yeah.
He got beat out by Kenny Stills.
Yeah.
So
I like Landry. One guy I really like, especially if you're playing Ty God, is Watkins. I think Watkins could have a huge week. I think he is so good. Like, he is a $8,000 receiver who has a vagina, so he's priced at $6,000 because he's always hurt.
Yeah.
But he has 2 touchdown upside anytime he touches the field. And then I like Moncrief. I'm in love with Moncrief this week. I think he could be possibly one of the top 5 scoring guys, and you get him for $6,000.
Yeah, you're sitting there at Moncrief. A good pivot off him, Michael Floyd. We talked about with the Carson Palmer. You can throw the Michael Floyd stack. He was a target machine inside that red zone. Just went off kind of that second half of the year, and that takes us into the 5,000. There's not much in this $5,000 range that I really care for, to tell you the truth.
I want to ask you just about a few guys.
Well, Crabtree's there at 5,500. I can understand that play.
Okay, so what do you think about Sanu? So all the talk is about Julio and Freeman, all this stuff. Maybe they try to double team,
but
I'm not on him. There's a lot of people talking. Like, I'm not on him. I'm like, Julio is my exposure to that game, and if I miss, then I'm probably going to go the opposite direction of Rich.
If they run that rookie corner out there on Julio, and all they do is sit back and try to throw the ball to Sanu, the Falcons they should be fired, and the Falcons are going to go 2-15 this year. So. Good luck with that.
They're going to play a playoff game and somehow play 17 games. But yeah, I get your point.
I
get your point. Like, you're right. They just need to feed the beast.
Yeah.
Sanu is not. I don't know why everybody thinks
Shanahan's track history is he doesn't look at the number 2. All of his plays run to the number 1. He feeds the ball
number
to
2 could stay on the Falcons last year.
So
ran through him. And then a lot of talk about Corey Coleman. How do you feel about him?
If I'm playing a Browns receiver, we talked about it, I'm going Terrell Pryor.
I am too.
Deep ball, he gets the deep ball, 3,000 deep ball for Pryor. He catches it, maybe gets the touchdown on the 50-yard, 1 catch, 50 yards for a touchdown. Right there, you've already exceeded value. So Corey Coleman, I mean, I don't even think he's the starting wideout. I think he's a starting kick returner right now, but he's going to play as that number 3 receiver that comes in, but he's not in the starting lineup. So I kind of, And then
I'm sorry.
just kind of jump through a couple guys.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's just throw a couple
Marvin
more.
Jones, highly owned this week. I do like his price at
We all like him,
4,600.
though.
I think he's going to be the better receiver of the two. Which, if you want, pivot to Golden Tate. If everybody's on Marvin Jones and it doesn't go that way, and then not really much after that.
I like Will Fuller, which I talked about. I think he's a decent. I think
At 3,000.
I think if you're playing the
Or let's
Seahawks
see.
D, play Tyler Lockett, double dip there. I was like double dip.
49. Sorry.
Yeah. What about Kamara Aiken?
Oh, that's Sterling Shepard at 49. Will Fuller's at
36, I think.
36.
Yeah. Kamara Aiken, thoughts on that one?
Maybe. They'll be behind. I don't think they're going to win that game, to tell you the truth. No running back situation. I mean, they did re-sign Forsett, but that just makes me like, do they even believe in what they have? So maybe they
don't
do
know
throw
what
it a
they
little
have,
bit more than they expect.
Willie Snead, I like. If you want to pivot off Cooks,
Yeah.
I like Snead. You want to pivot off Fleener, which I think a lot of people won't be on.
A couple of real flyers, like you said. I mean, I guess Will Fuller's not, but I just don't. I'm not going to take him week 1. I need to see something. Maybe he does have an awesome week, and I'm completely wrong. Tyler Boyd, he'll be the number 2 over there at Cincinnati. And then my last one at 3,000 was, Tajay Sharp.
Oh, yeah, we can't go. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's cash game locked for me at 3,000. He's going to get the targets. He's the number 1 receiver.
I'm willing to take a chance on him so I can build a good lineup where I can go up and running back a little bit and then get 2 of those higher price guys and just kind of, I think he's good for 4 catches, 50 yards right there.
That's all you
9
really need.
points, and I got
all you
return
need.
on him. So,
But that's why I would only play him in cash. I don't think he has GPP upside.
yeah. So,
All right, you want to kind of move through tight end here? To me, there's not a whole lot.
Colby Fleener's my number 1.
Okay.
Jared Cook, I like his price at 2,900. If it's true, I mean, I saw a stat where Jared Cook, has put up decent stats, and then they showed his quarterbacks. I mean, the best guy that's ever thrown the ball to him is Vince Young.
Yeah.
And that just tells you how.
And Rodgers has apparently looked for him all camp.
Yeah.
They have a good rapport. So I like Cook a lot. I have him written down.
Another one, Antonio Gates. I think he could be a good play. Gary Barnidge, he has 2 touchdown upside, so I might throw him in a couple lineups against that Philadelphia. Philly gets up, maybe they're throwing late. Gary Barnidge can catch 2 touchdown passes. I don't really trust anything else on the outside. I mean, I did say I like Terrell Pryor, but getting in the red zone, I think Gary Barnidge has a better chance of doing something than Pryor catching a home run ball. So, Dwayne Allen.
Yeah, I like Dwayne Allen. Get a piece of that game.
Yeah, just to a good pivot. Maybe they get in the red zone, throw the ball to him instead.
Witten stack with Dak, I think, is interesting. I actually just don't really love tight end, to be honest. We didn't talk much about Monday night, but my favorite tight end is Jordan Reed. If I'm playing the Monday, any lineups on Mondays, it's pretty much all in on Jordan Reed. I'm not big on Kelsey. I don't love the matchup, so I'm not really going to pay up at tight end. I mean, I kind of like Fleener. I'm mainly gravitating towards Cook and Dwayne Allen. Are really I'm paying down there at tight end as well, so I can pay up at some other spots. So it's kind of where I was staying.
I think I'll be paying up for Colby Fleener. That's kind of where.
Does it concern you at all that there's rumors coming out of New Orleans that he's having trouble picking up the playbook and stuff like that? Okay.
Running out.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many targets there, too. It's just so hard to ever pick one. That's why I think you need to just spread Snead, Ingram. I think all 4 of those guys, you just spread them across, like puzzle them.
Yeah.
Like, make a bunch of lineups, and this guy here, this guy there. And one of them's bound to hit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And hopefully it's just on the right.
What about Clive? What about Clive Walford?
Yeah, I mean, Saints have been awful against that. That's a guy that could catch a touchdown down there. He catches a touchdown, he's already made value at 2,900. So.
And then I have no interest in Gronk. I'm not paying 7,400 for Gronk.
No, I think the study showed from the last year that he never paid off for his price. So that was. Yeah. And I'm not going to play him until Tom Brady comes back.
Right.
So hopefully his price goes down because Jimmy just does an awful job. Yeah. So he doesn't catch any balls. And then he's got Martellus Bennett too. Now we'll take away a few targets. Gronk wasn't as dominant when Aaron Hernandez was playing.
And back to Monday night, a guy we skipped. If you're playing Monday as well, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
And Deshaun. I like Deshaun Jackson, Antonio Brown. I like Jordan Reed. Those are really the three guys, and Cousins are really kind of guys I like from Monday night.
And then defenses, just real quick. Actually, one of the defenses I've been plugging in a lot, the Browns.
Yeah, I actually
with Wentz at quarterback, rookie quarterback. Maybe the Browns can get out to a lead and they got to throw the ball a little bit with Wentz and they pick one off. I mean, the Browns defense, they have struggled, but they actually got their front seven's not that bad. They can probably get some pressure. Seems like they can get pressure on people, so maybe they can force a turnover, take one back to the house. If Corey Coleman's returning punts, I mean, that's a very possibility of him returning one. That's just a flyer at 2,300. The other defense I've been kind of gravitating to is the Titans.
Yeah.
I just Sam Bradford, Sean Hill again at home. I think maybe they can get a couple picks.
Are they the same person?
and Bradford doesn't know the playbook that well, so it's going to be pretty Manila. So I don't know. Maybe
doesn't matter if he knows it well or not.
So, and of course, Seahawks against Dolphins at home.
Yeah.
That's but I'm not paying $3,900 for defense. I'd rather pay down to the Titans at $2,600 and take $1,300 and put it towards a receiver or something. So,
I like the Texans and the Eagles. Eagles are one of my favorite GPP plays. I think they have tremendous upside.
Yeah, they're always good for a punt return. It seems like.
Yeah, or a pick six. It seems like every game it almost seems like they do one or the other. They'll give up 40 points, but somehow score 13 fantasy points.
Yeah.
So.
And that's pretty much it. I don't see anybody else I really care for. So maybe the Saints defense. Just joking.
Oh God. Watch like the winning Millie Maker lineup have something like the Saints D in it. I would just lose all hope in DFS at that point.
Nah, the Browns are going to score more points than the Saints.
Oh yeah, I like the Browns. I have the Browns written down. I have some interest in them as well.
All right, well that's it. That's the first week. Best luck to everybody. I don't know. Maybe you gonna do a Million Acre, or are we gonna start that? Do your own little video where you kind of talk.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, maybe we'll try to get that out there if we have time this weekend. I know it's your son's birthday, so you're gonna be pretty busy. But best of luck to everybody. We will see you next week. Hit us up, TDemi21.
Bill Snake 23.
Send us any tweets if you want to join our league. Let us know on DraftKings. We'll fit you in there. We got about 15 people in there that play every week. And so if you want to jump in with us and you throw your lineup and you win it, we'll talk about your lineup on here and who you played. Yeah. Or maybe we'll just do that. We have our league. We got some buddies that really follow. Yeah. Whoever wins it, we'll talk about their lineup.
We'll do that. We'll start that next week. That'll be fun.
So, but have a good one. And as always, if you ain't listening,
you donate.